gonna wait for a few people to hop on here. I know this is everybody's favorite part of live broadcasts is when somebody says, I'm gonna wait for a few more people to hop on here, but it's kind of what you have to do. So just let me know if you guys can hear me, because I'm trying to do this with my mic, but you know how that goes. Kind of my first time doing this from my phone. But as you can see from this exciting background, I am not in Wichita, Kansas. I'm in a t-shirt, and I am in Scottsdale, Arizona at an auction, but not just any auction. This is the Worldwide Auctioneers auction. Hello, everybody that's joining. Can you hear me? That's the big thing, because I'm trying the live mic, trying not to yell over the phone mic if possible. Yes, no, okay. Chris says he can hear me. Okay, fantastic. Anyway, like I said, I am here in Scottsdale, California. Scottsdale, Arizona, here at Worldwide Auctioneers event. And believe it or not, these guys actually asked me to come down here and cover their event. But not only that, not only do they want me to make a video for my own channel, they're actually going to have me, again, do their live commentary for their broadcast of the auction this evening, which is a tremendous opportunity, super duper exciting. It's just been a real whirlwind out here, and I thought today, as still a few of you are joining on, that we could take a look at some of the cars before the auction gets started. This is still kind of the time when you can open stuff up and touch it and stuff like that. And I'm wearing the shirt, so nobody gets super mad if I open stuff up, which is, you know, always very, very cool. Wow, thanks, Sock. That is awesome. And again, I'm gonna be trying to keep an eye on the comments. If there's something particular that I'm cruising by that you guys wanna see, you know, let me know. I'm still seeing more Volvo videos. Well, the Volvo's a little far away right now. Otherwise, believe me, I'd be making some. Now I'm gonna flip it around here because I just wanna take you through a tour of some of the stuff that's right here at the entrance, which is so neat. So right off the bat, you can just see we're on like a golf course, which is pretty cool. You've got an old Hudson over here. I believe it's a 27. And this thing is ridiculously clean. Cleanest one that I might have ever seen. Coolest part is it's got this massive post of a spotlight. Really popular thing to do back in the 20s for some reason, and you'll see that on more than one car, believe it or not. Another thing I wanted to show you is this, I believe it's like a 1913, yeah, Excelsior bike. And this is so neat. It's like in a perfectly like patina type setting. I mean, it looks unrestored. It looks exactly like you just found it in a barn. And I think my favorite part is that the logo on the gas tank is still there. And this is an old, I guess, auto cycle. I forgot what they call these, but you actually pedal it to get it going, which is different. You don't see that. I mean, you don't really see old motorcycles, at least that old anyway. Now, the car you can't help but notice every time I take a picture around here is this, and this is what's called a Delahaye, and I know a lot of you might not be familiar with that brand, but it's a French car. It's very exotic. This would have been kind of like a Ferrari, I guess, back in the day. But what's interesting is it's from the 30s, and it actually has what's called a disappearing top. Every other car from this type of era had a top that just kind of flopped back, but not this one. This one actually had a disappearing top. And the other thing about this is it's from a designer whose name is Fagoni, which I know, who are you calling a Fagoni? But apparently this is like one of 4 cars that he ever did before he went on and did other things. So this is a very important car. And apparently at Pebble Beach, when they had like some sort of a Delahaye reunion, this is the car that really stole the show. And they're auctioning off here, and it's just incredible. You don't see stuff like this. This is kind of like almost like an MG sports car design, but it's like a 1937, I believe. No, 35. It's absolutely incredible. The interior is really cool. Another thing, look at the shifter. See that? It's just this little, and it like auto selects the gear for you. Well, it doesn't auto select the gear, but you put it in the gear with your thumb and forefinger, or your thumb and index finger, kind of like a Prius shifter, and you push the clutch in, it selects the gear, and then it goes. Really cool, beyond advanced for the mid-30s. Really, really cool stuff. Yes, somebody mentioned the FJ. Now I will have to go to that because I know that everybody does love these. This is a car I really haven't spent too much time around, but I know it's one of the cleaner ones in the nation, that's for sure. Yes, somebody mentioned the FJ. Now I will have to go to that because I know that everybody does love these. This is a car I really haven't spent too much time around, but I know it's one of the cleaner ones in the nation, that's for sure. And this whole roof here is removable, which is really, really cool. Beautiful condition. A lot of these are, well, you guys have seen them. A lot of them are kind of either rust buckets or driven hard. I'm sure this one has had its day, but right now it looks amazing on the lawn here. It is just a fantastic car. Hold on. See, it's new to the live on the phone thing. Glad you guys are sticking with this. This whole facility is really cool. Apparently, like, used to be a golf course, so it still very much looks and feels like one. But now it is a farm and or I forget what they call it, a farmer's market. So they have like a vegan restaurant up there. They grow their own lettuce and all that jazz. It's pretty neat. Moving on to what I showed you guys in my Instagram preview. This is not just your normal Hummer. I know you guys see them on, saw Hoovies and all that stuff, but this one has done the Predator conversion, which means that it's got a Duramax diesel engine, an Allison transmission, fully gone through, very, very expensive conversion. And the other cool thing is apparently the CEO of Discount Tire was the person who commissioned this and who owned this. But he didn't just want, hey, I want a cool, more reliable, faster Hummer. He wanted something that he could live off-grid with for 30 days or more. So it really is like a zombie apocalypse vehicle. It's not just me saying that. So instead of just stopping at the Predator conversion, he went over here and he made this custom Hummer trailer. And well, look at this. You can see like jerry cans and propane and all that stuff. But the goal here is that this trailer by itself is like self-sustaining. You can live in here for 30 days or more, totally off-grid. It's got solar, it's got its own water. It is just something else. Oops. Just trying to read some of the comments here, guys. Seeing what's up. Yeah. But yes, the Discount Tire guy, same dude. And again, this is the beauty of somewhat working for the auction, is I'm allowed to touch them, which is it feels wrong, but as you can see here, it's like a totally upgraded and redone interior. Okay, insane stings. Have a good day, Grandma. I'm so glad your grandma's a fan. That is really cool. But look at this in here. It is fully gone through, totally new and nice. For some reason, a massive TV. You got like a CB radio and all auto meter gauges, which is interesting, but pretty cool. Yeah, this thing is nuts. And we all know from Hoovie's video, that roof rack can at least hold one Prius. So it's always a good fact to know when you see a Hummer. Over here, you got your I feel like this is like an auction standard, an E-type Jaguar. Some people like the coupes, some people don't. I'm more of a convertible guy myself, but I think it's kind of undeniable that this is a good looking car. Next to it, you kind of have a late 80s Porsche Targa. These are always cool. This one's modified a little bit. It does have Fisk wheels, which is neat. Alpha, got an Austin Healey. This is the first year of the 3000 or whatever this is called. I kind of forgot. Yeah, 3000, but this one has the hard top. This one's interesting. A lot of people know the BMW 2002. Well, this is a BMW 2000. And whether you're a fan of the new 4 Series grills or not, look at that little grill. You think they took some inspiration from that? I would say they did. Kind of an interesting car. Definitely haven't seen one, and that particular one is a European spec, which is why it doesn't have sealed beam headlights and probably why it looks better. You got yourself a Beetle with the sunroof, which is its feature. Another 911, another Alfa Romeo. And behind me here in black, this is kind of a hard car to shoot. This is the star of the show. This is a Chrysler Imperial that has been, it was the first coach-worked car by Bonham and Schwartz. And well, look at it. That is the most menacing, cool-looking, almost hot rod-like car. It has like cartoonish proportions, but it looks so cool. And you guys know I'm not a fan of black cars, but how can this thing, I mean, how can you not like this thing? It's just incredible. The fun fact about it is it has the potential to be the most expensive Chrysler ever sold. And we'll know that here in about 2 or 3 hours when it goes across the block. But that thing is just indescribably neat and definitely going to be an exciting one to watch. This is probably my favorite car here, or second favorite car here. This is a 1929 Duesenberg Model J. Now, if you know anything, if you ever heard the term "this is a doozy" or "that's a doozy," that's kind of what's short for that, Duesenberg doozy. This is a very special car. This would have been your American elite vehicle at the time. I kind of made a more detailed video going through some of these, but I just wanted to give you a quick walkthrough. These were about $25,000 in 1929, when the cost of a Model A was like $400 or $500. So you're looking at a car that cost so much more than an average car. It technically is like above Rolls-Royce in terms of luxury, and it shows. It's got so many neat features, dual suicide doors, and my favorite thing, let me see here. If you see this actually is a selectable brake bias based on the weather. So it says like dry, snow, rain, and something else. And remember, this is 1929. Features like select train all-wheel drive and all this stuff didn't even start showing up on Land Rovers until like the late 90s, early 2000s. This was an advanced car. You certainly paid for it, but you also got what you paid for. That car is gonna go for a lot of money. Can't really exactly guess what, but you can safe to say it's going to be a 7-figure car. Now, we can actually move inside. Let's see here. This is I actually really like these. This is called it's a lesser known Ferrari. It's called the Ferrari 512 BDI. It's kind of a late 70s design. This particular one's a 1983. Still has like knockoff wheels and stuff like that, but it's just a really good looking car. Unfortunately, the coolest thing about it is the engine presentation, but it's not open. Anyway, moving inside the tent here. This is kind of more of a Barrett Jackson-esque car, but they've got this 1961 Impala bubble top wagon. Reportedly, the guy spent $1.5 million building it. And I mean, it shows. It's very, very nice. You got like a totally custom LS, individual throttle bodies with, velocity stack style. The old big block logo there, shaved door handles. I mean, you can tell it's a special car. Definitely a little different than a Duesenberg, that's for sure, but it is very neat. Of course, behind me, you'll see an endless amount of Fords because there's one guy named Ron Thorne who said he was gonna sell all of his early V8 Ford collection here, and I'll go through a couple of the highlights of those as I get around to them. But one of the things, and this is why it's tied probably for my favorite car, is one behind me. So this is a 1936 or 37 Cord. 37. So there's a lot of things that's special about this. First of all, look at it. But this is actually a supercharged V8 Roadster from the 30s. Not only that, but it is front-wheel drive and it has hideaway headlights. There are the number of cool things on this car could go on forever. Also an American car. But look at this. Do you see these pipes that are coming out here? That is the real exhaust, and it goes into the fender. It's incredible, and it still comes out the rear of the car. But just look at this thing. It is so futuristic and awesome and beautiful. And once again, kind of like the Delahaye outside, it has a hideaway top, which was still not a thing until like the 60s on most cars. Absolutely incredible. But as you move up here, you can see the beautiful machine turned dash. And once again, kind of like the Delahaye, this is the shifter. This is still the age when like Fords had, 4-foot throws and the shifter was on the floor and it was whatever. And then you had a car like this come out with an electric shifter that pre-selected the gears for you. And all you had to do is push the clutch in, put it in gear, and you let the clutch out. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of single clutch Ferraris and single clutch exotics. I guess this is the pre-war version of a single clutch, which I had never really thought of until just now. But it's not something you get to see, and this is the closest I've ever been to one. In fact, touch. There we go. Now I've touched one. Again, for any of you just joining, I am kind of working for them right now, so I'm allowed to open stuff up and touch it. I'm not just being a rude car show guest. Let's see here. This is a pretty special car, and it could go for a lot of money as well. It has the longest hood I've ever seen in my life. It's hilarious, very, very impressive. But what's not a car, but still interesting, is this. So if you remember the Duesenberg that I just showed you, this is a Duesenberg Model J engine, but not in the car. Look at the size of this thing. I don't even know how to do a scale other than my hand and here in this, what I could only describe as like a 20-gallon capacity oil tank. I know it's not an oil tank, you know what I mean, oil pan. Sorry, jumbled, got a lot going on. But this is quite the motor, and it is apparently fully ready to drive, ready to put in a Duesenberg, ready to be displayed in your garage, whatever. The transmission alone could be 200 grand. It's just incredible. Look at this, the parking brake is installed, but it squeezes the output shaft. It doesn't squeeze rear drums or anything like that. It's insane. Well, here's a good scale of how big it is. It's huge. David, thank you. Here, I'll flip it around. David, thank you for the donation. That is awesome, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for following me around as I'm walking around showing these cars. So, Duesenberg engine, that is going to hammer for a lot of money. And the question is whether somebody's just going to use it for garage art or if somebody's got a Duesenberg chassis out there that they want to drop it in. I don't know, but I'm really excited to see what that goes for. This is a car everybody will recognize. It's a 57 Chevy, kind of the poster child of drive-in movies and soda fountains everywhere. This one is very special because it is fuel injected. That means it's going to be the top of the trim line. I mean, first of all, it's convertible. Second of all, it's fuel injected. And this one also is a Power Glide automatic. Very, very neat. Beside it, and I don't know how well this is going to come off on camera, this is a car that is patinaed, but not intentionally. It's like they found it like this, and it's what's called a Stutz Blackhawk. Now, Stutz, it's in the same ballpark as Auburn, Duesenberg, and Cord from back in the day, but this was kind of their attempt at making a more accessible car. And I mean, by more accessible, it was still probably 12 times as much as your normal car back in the day. This is special though because it's not restored, but it has been mechanically restored, which is very, very interesting. Obviously, to restore this whole car would be $500,000 or more, but this one they spent about $30,000 or $40,000 just fixing it so it would be able to drive. And what you're left with is probably the only usable Stutz in the world. Apparently, it's completely mechanically fine. It just looks a little rough, and I'll show you what I mean. Paint, it's all pitted and, you know, well, I mean, look at it. It looks like you just pulled it out of a barn. The top is like torn and the seats are torn and have holes in it. And I mean, for those of you just joining me, this is one of those, why is this car here when you see everything else? It's something else though. Look at this, down here, that's the battery and the ground. So if you want to buy this Stutz, yes, it can run and drive. Might get a little breezy on you, but still, very incredible. You never really see Stutzes ever, and I think this one would be killer at a Cars and Coffee. You got a Hudson here, and it's very special. Apparently there's only 4 of these as well. But more of this Ron Thorne collection of Fords as we walk around here. One of the things that I think is really special is I'm a big early V8 Ford guy, and this one is the one that is the most important to me. So this is a 1932 V8 Ford. So this is the first year, and this is the coolest to me because it's still essentially a Model A, but with a V8. And my video's not out yet, but one of the coolest things I got to do earlier today actually was I got to drive this car. I got to drive basically the first V8 Ford in existence in the exact kind of trim I love, Roadster. So, I mean, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. The color combination is beautiful. If you remember my dad's, he's got a 29, but it's got the wind deflectors. It's got all of the little cowl lights, and this was their symbol at the time, a Greyhound. Very, very cool. Tremendous opportunity to drive this car. It's just like my dad's, though, like I said, no windows because it's a Roadster. And then back here, you have the rumble seat, which now actually you can see why they call it the mother-in-law seat, because if you were sitting back here and they have the top up, nobody's talking to anybody. You're just getting blasted with wind. Definitely only for nice days for folks back here. But yeah, again, if I pass by anything that you guys want to see, let me know. I will try to get to it as I can. Next to it is probably one of my favorite accessible cars, I'll call it. This is a 37 Ford Cabriolet, and the reason I like it is because 37 is the introduction of integrated headlights, and it's just, look at it. It's a cool green. This is still flathead V8 Ford. It's just really neat looking, and I just love the Roadsters. Actually, I'm sorry, this one's a Cabriolet, and the difference? Roll up windows. That's pretty much it. This has a banjo steering wheel, that's what this is called. And this one even has a radio, which is pretty rare, and a clock in the glove box there. So, pretty neat stuff. BA Junkie, thank you so much for the donation. That is awesome, man. I appreciate that you're watching. But yes, everybody that's saying it, it's really cool that I got to drive it. And to answer somebody else's question, yes, my dad is here. In fact, I think he's casually lagging behind me, making sure that my audio still works. So I kind of lost track of him, actually. Let's see here. So as you can see, what's up, Jonathan? Hey, Vic, I'm glad you're here too. I got this back around. So like I said, the Ron Thorne collection, these are all his. And they're just every iteration of V8 Ford pretty much possible. Like this and this are the same year, and the difference is this has back seats. It's just, you know, if you're a fanatic, one day I'm going to have a weird all C4 Corvette collection, and somebody else will say the same thing about me, but it's cool to see, undeniably. This here is what's called a 1907, and I'm not just saying it's called a shat, like the past tense of, well, you know, but it's called just a shat, a high wheel runabout. Now, 1907, if you know anything about cars, kind of really early in the car world there, and boy does it show. Look at this thing. It looks like a horseless carriage because that's where that term came from. You can very much see where they more or less took a carriage that would normally be attached to a horse and put a radiator on it and put an engine in it and called it good. I mean, they put a radiator in it in the most, that matter-of-fact sense of the word. I mean, it's just right here, and then you can imagine the hot air just kind of blows right onto you here. The headlights, if you look, no bulbs. Those are acetylene torch headlights. So it's a little bit better than holding a candle out in front of you while you're going down the road. Probably not the best for nighttime driving. Clearly no rear visibility, but who cares? And tunes, I had the sunglasses on because I was outside. I'll take them off. You're right. Sorry, just getting ahead of myself here. Back here though, crank start, because I mean, they didn't really have a starter, but check this out, because I'm allowed to do this somehow. This is the engine. This is a 2-cylinder engine, and it is pretty much what I would call a total loss system because these valves are just open. So this thing's gonna be spewing as it's running, and it's just got this massive flywheel back here. I mean, this is early motoring at its absolute finest. And if there was any doubt that it was a horseless carriage, look at this. These are the wheels. They are solid rubber, wooden wagon wheels that are pretty much something like what you'd see off of, you know, your Oregon Trail style type of thing. But it's just really neat to see this in person. Also, this one's very special because it has dual chain drive. Pretty neat. Let me see if I can close this without messing anything up. I'll flip it this way. Oof, okay. Successful closure. Always good. Let's see here. How are you guys doing today? Again, just to recap for anybody just joining, I am here working the Worldwide Auctioneers auction, and I'm going to be doing live commentary as these cars go across the block on their broadcast tonight. It's going to be going on at 5 p.m. Our time here, which is, I guess, 6 Central, and I mean, you guys can figure out the rest for Eastern and Pacific, or Eastern and, yeah, Eastern and Pacific. You know what I mean. You guys got it. You guys are smart. Let me flip it back around here. Tunes, yes, I am the notary for this auction. No, I can't notarize outside of Kansas. I wish. I'd be a busy guy today, I think. Oops, okay. So again, Ron Thorne collection, more cars. These are some more brass era things that you can tell, just early cars. This is an REO and there's a Model T, I'll probably get to that. But there's some stuff that's more up our alley out here, younger folks alley, I don't know. You never know, I got a smattering here. This is pretty interesting, it's called a Diamond. That's the Diamond T, it's the brand it is. Not a lot of people have heard of it. This was more of a luxury truck than a farm truck. And this is pretty early to have that. It's a 1949, and you can kind of think of it like the Denali of its day. Not a lot of luxury trucks going on, but that was one. So I'm interested to see what that goes for. Now, I can put the sunglasses back on. Yes, Vincent, Volvos. I don't think they have any here. Now, this is a 1991 Lamborghini Diablo, and what's interesting about this, it doesn't have a rear wing, but that was from the factory. So whoever ordered this actually chose to not have it have a rear wing. And unlike Tyler's, this is just a rear wheel drive only model, and it's a hardtop. But you gotta love seeing these any chance you get. Just stunning cars, very Need for Speed-esque. And once again, because I'm allowed to, I have to. This never gets old, ever, and don't let anybody ever tell you it does. That is so neat. And the interior, as you can imagine, most Lambos, absolutely pristine, everything's in good shape. You know, that's your rear view. Shifter, fun fact, these are dog leg manuals, so the first is actually back into the left, pretty fascinating. Still, gotta shut this. Very neat. This is a Packard. This is gonna be a pretty expensive one as well. It's a straight 8, very fancy, very expensive car. Look at the gauge cluster on this thing. Hang on here. Absolutely beautiful woodwork, square pedals, which is interesting. And if anybody wants to know, that's the starter down there. And if you want to see the world's most suggestive sorry, it's the world's most suggestive hood ornament. And well, what's this guy doing? What do you guys think? Kind of it's definitely a weird one. You know, you get quails, you get arrows, and you get greyhounds, but this one's I guess a little boy looking at his pee-pee. I don't know, kind of a weird one. But you know, you could do whatever you wanted back then, it doesn't matter. I got a 1941 Cadillac. That's kind of the end of American cars before everybody started building stuff for World War II. This, they're actually working on, they're putting spark plugs in it, but this is a Lamborghini Jalpa, and the same guy who owns this also owned that, which you can tell from the color combo. This also is a factory wing delete car. It sounds like they're getting ready to start it. I like these because they're target tops, and this was kind of the early version of the Gallardo. This was a more entry-level Lamborghini than than they had. I mean, you either got the Countach or that. You know, there's a pretty big price difference because of that. But still very, very cool, and there are only like 400 of those made, so you definitely don't see them. Moving back inside here, more of the Ron Thorne collection. This is an interesting car because similarly to the car I drove earlier, this is a 1932 Ford, which means it's the first year, but this one is what's called a Phaeton, not a Roadster. And what makes it a Phaeton is it is a 4-door convertible. So still no windows, but you have a back door, which is a suicide door, see? And you could enjoy motoring with the whole family without putting somebody in the stepmother seat, which is always nice. Now these, I think they made less than 2,000 of these, even in the 30s. So the fact that one of them is still surviving is astonishing. It's absolutely incredible. And it's really, really cool to see one. You got some Mercuries, like a 56 Ford Fairlane, I think. Yes. This one's pretty interesting because it's still from the guy's collection, but it has been, you can see it's kind of patinaed, but it has been clear coated to maintain that patina. Once again, I know we're moving around from the little boy looking at himself, but you got your Greyhound there again. This is a 1935 Ford Greyhound again. They kind of move around. This is a Mercury, and if you notice, they're kind of similar because Mercury was just an upscale Ford, and just like Lincoln was an upscale Mercury. These are just kind of all V8 Fords. This is a really special one to me, and I can't wait to see this go across the block. When I was a kid, my dad had something exactly like this, just in more of a creamy, buttery yellow. This is a 1936 Ford Cabriolet. My dad's was a Roadster, which means it didn't have windows, but this one is perfect, which is why it's here at Worldwide Auctioneers. It is as good as a 1936 Ford could be, and this is possibly my favorite year of early V8 Fords, and it's just fascinating to see one in this good of shape with every single possible accessory and in such a cool color. Just immaculate. I mean, the wooden dash alone, the banjo steering wheel, like I said, still has the radio, integrated wiper. This was, you know, pretty fancy. It's vacuum driven. Still have a rumble seat, and this particular one has the Ford V8 in, you know, it's actually labeled luggage rack. Incredible. It's great to even just be around this many early V8 Fords, let alone this many that are in this good of shape. I mean, each one of these is museum quality, and it's incredible to see. We'll keep going down the line here. Some of this is back more in some of your alleys. Charger, this is a factory 4-speed car. Really kind of, I think you can kind of see it in this particular light, but it's a beautiful color. And believe it or not, those wheels kind of match, which is interesting. It's an actual Hemi car. It's not, you know, a lot of people just put Hemis in them. But this thing is beautiful, obviously perfect, because that's why it's here. Absolutely stunning. Very, very cool. But what's next to it is something that's, well, I barely knew existed before today, or not today, but before this weekend. This is what's called a Chevrolet El Morocco. And you might think, kind of looks like a mix between a Bel Air and a Cadillac. Well, that's because it pretty much is. Chevy at the time was like, hey, we can make a more upscale Chevy that's not quite a Cadillac, but it's better than the Bel Air. So they made this, the El Morocco. The thing is, they only made 16 of them, which, as you can imagine, is not a very big production run. The idea here is that, well, you can see it's got like a Cadillac body. This is like the exact wings and stuff of the Cadillac. It just is a Chevy. So the idea was also, like I said, to make an upscale Cadillac-esque Chevy, but with Chevy repair costs and Chevy maintenance. And it's just a fascinating car to see. One of 16, got a lot of cool stuff, got a lot of style. But look at this. This is where the fuel is. In there. So you can see. Very cool, very, very rare. Incredible. Amazing just to touch this car. It's crazy. Anyway, that is the El Morocco. I'm gonna back up here because I'm a little too close. And I know it looks like a GT500, but this is a GT350. This is an actual GT350. It has the accessories, it has the roll bar, it has the seats, the multi-port harnesses that are optional on these cars. And as you can imagine, again, absolute perfection. It's got all of the provenance. This is the Shelby GT350 that you want. Over here, another 36 Ford, except different iteration. You can imagine this guy had a lot of 36 Fords, a lot of 37 Fords. This is a 3-window. And the reason they call it that, well, you guessed it, 1, 2, 3. Very complex naming strategy at Ford at the time. They just called it a 3-window. For example, this one next to me, this is a 1937 5-window. Look at this. How do they call it a 5-window? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, very complex naming strategy there. And then you got a Fairlane. You got this real actual Shaker Challenger. Apparently they've spent as much as you can spend on a Challenger restoring this thing to perfection. It's incredible. It's just amazing to be around these cars and touch these cars. The last 2 cars I want to show you though is this, the 1967 Corvette Roadster. But this one is the big block car. It is a 427 car, and you can tell because it's got the stinger. Just beautiful. It's got the factory side pipes. It's an amazing car. And by this point, Corvettes were really, really nice. This is, they have 4-wheel disc brakes, independent suspension, just basically a modern car. And then with this particular model, all the power in the world. My dad had a red one of these when I was growing up, and I've wanted one ever since. They're just stunning. Okay, last car I'm going to show you is this. This is the 1939 Ford, but as you can see, it is a Woody. And unlike, you know, Woodies that you see from your parents' era, this one is real wood, and not just kidding here. Look at this. It's wood even throughout. So this entire door is wood. The dash, wood. This door, wood. Everything wood. And then check this out. All of the wood. That is just incredible. How this thing hasn't rotted and swelled away over this many years is simply amazing. And God, it's how you have to shut old cars. It's unsettling, but it's how you have to do it. It's just incredible to see a real Woody up close, and there's a reason why these are more valuable than your standard Fords and stuff like that. So there's a few more cars I didn't really get to. Let's see here. There's a few more cars I didn't really get to, but you'll get to see everything if you tune in tonight to watch me on Worldwide Auctioneers coverage. You can go to their website, you can go to their YouTube channel. It will be streamed live as it's happening. I'm going to be doing live commentary with another guy, and you know, we'll be talking about practically each and every one of these as they cross the block and as they happen. I would love to see as many of you guys there as possible. It's really cool. This is my first auction gig, so the more support, the better. And you guys are the greatest fans in the world, so I know you can do it. If you guys have any questions, I mean, I can hang out here for. Geez, it is. See, look at this. This is bright as crap. But yeah, if there's anything I didn't get to, be sure to let me know right now, because I can turn around, spend as much time as I need right here. Like I said, tonight, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which, again, just kind of break that down based on your location. I know for the folks back in Kansas, that means 6 o'clock. Apparently, it's going to be, there's going to be some coverage. It's going to be a while because there's a lot of cars, and well, auctions aren't the speediest things in the world. But if you tune in, be sure to leave a live comment if they have that option. Vic, does it make my palms sweat when touching these cars? Really, the Duesenberg did. I had to open its door, and cars from the 20s and 30s, if you haven't done it, you have to shut the doors with authority. More authority than you think you would, and definitely more authority than most people are comfortable with. And it's just, I had to do it 2 or 3 times, and everybody's watching because it's like right here, and I know how valuable the car is. So I just was like, click, oh no, click, oh man. And it was nerve-wracking, but well, the door's closed now, so it's all good. Red Octopus Tent, great name, by the way. There are not any V16s here, unfortunately. I'm sure there might be elsewhere in the area, and I will be traveling around to some of the other auctions as time happens, but no, unfortunately no V16s here this time, but it doesn't mean that we're not full of some really good stuff here. What's the one that I want to take home the most? Money No Object. I would say Money No Object. Real tough choice between the Duesenberg and that Cord in there. Everything about them is very much up my alley, and well, they're very much not in my price range, but one day maybe. The Cord is just cool. It's supercharged. It looks like it's from the 50s. It's just incredible. It's got everything that I want, especially the little snick electronic shifter. It's so neat. Have I had the opportunity to drive anything? Yes. So I'm gonna be having like a better version of this as I get it done. But yes, I got to drive the 1932 Ford Roadster this morning, which is awesome. It's a dream car of mine to drive a very first year flathead V8 car. Believe it or not, it's not something that even pops up. You're way more likely to get to drive a Ferrari or a Lamborghini than one of those cars. And the fact that they let me take a car out from the auction is it's mind-blowing. I didn't think that auction companies let you do that. But Worldwide is something else. They've given me so much, and that's why I'm hoping, if you guys tune in tonight, that we can show them that I got some of the best fans in the world, which I truly believe. Let's see here. Anything else? Yes, there's a Hummer. Have I seen an orange GTO Judge? I have seen a few in real life. There's quite a few at Bear Jackson and stuff like that. The Hummer is pretty neat. Steven, good question. What Turo did I get for this trip? So I've actually been wondering about this, whether to make a video on it or not. I kind of just got something normal. I got a Volkswagen Atlas, which is something that a couple of friends of ours have been toying with the idea of buying. And I figured, well, how about I drive one for a week and I'll let you know if it's worth it. Also, because my family's gonna be joining me out here soon, I'm gonna need the capacity. Let me know if you guys want to see a video on a Volkswagen Atlas. It's you know, just kind of your normal SUV, but I mean, they are new, and that's pretty cool. Rob, is there a car I really want? Yes, you know, I kind of went through it already. The Duesenberg, definitely very high up on the list, and then there's a 37 Cord in there as well, and it would be a very, very tough choice to choose between the two of them. I feel like the Duesenberg I could never drive. You know, that's one of the cars that I've talked about before. It gets to a value where it would be impossible. And the reason it's really cool to even see one here is because these cars don't come out. They come out to be sold, and then they get put away for another 30 years until somebody's ready to sell another one. So basically, to even be within a few feet of one is incredible. And I mean, I've got to hear it run. I've watched them move it. It's just something that a lot of you just don't see. It's you know, it's like if they brought the Mona Lisa out every once in a while and then put it back away. They're just that's the closest comparison I have for it. It's an incredible car to just be around. Let me see here. Sorry, I missed a couple of things here. Make sure to film your daughter when I get out there. I will see if she has any good reactions, that's for sure. Tunes, I don't know. My dad's got a bidder's pass. We'll see if any of these Fords go for dirt cheap. You know, you never know. Any Cobras? Well, actually, I'll see if there's one in the parking lot here, but there's a guy who drove a Shelby Daytona Coupe to the parking lot here, which is just the kind of thing that you like to see here in Scottsdale. It was like a Shelby Daytona Coupe, a bunch of Porsche Panameras, and a high-wing Corvette ZR1 all in the parking lot. Oh, there's my dad, by the way, for anybody who's wondering if he was here. There he is. What if mint NFT of cars? Yeah, I'm sure somebody could. Actually, Barrett Jackson this year is selling a couple of NFTs of pictures of cars that they sold, which I thought was pretty interesting. And yes, I'm sure that it's a replica coupe. I don't think anybody would be driving like a $5 million Shelby Daytona. But even the replicas, well, they aren't exactly cheap. Go interview my dad. I'll have to. I might have to save that one for another day. But he does have his auction outfit on right now. I convinced him to bring one of those Hawaiian shirts with all the cars on it, and well, he did, and I'm very happy with that because it's, you know, that's what you wear to some of these. Let's see here. Let's see his thoughts on bidding. I mean, his thoughts on bidding are some of these things are going to have to go for pretty darn cheap if he's going to bid on it. While I'm still just chatting here, I can show you this. The shifter on this kind of surprised me. It's kind of like those Honda shifters. Look, it's like in the dash. Pretty fascinating. Definitely did not know that about these. It's interesting. Also, the fire extinguisher's under the driver. A lot of times if you have the fire extinguisher, it's over here. Either way, in Italian cars, you definitely want that. Oh, another car. Let me see here. Let me flip back around. Sorry, guys. It's a lot of, you know how this goes. Another car that's just kind of an interesting, I think it was a late joiner to the auction here. And definitely unlike anything else that they have, is a Jeep Gladiator that was featured at SEMA this year. And as you can imagine, SEMA builds, well, you've seen them, they're ridiculous. And this one is no exception. Check this out. It's got an American flag livery. It has every accessory you can imagine, and it's monstrous. I mean, as I get closer to it, you can see how much bigger it gets. This thing is massive. Look at this. It has like hood scoops with extra light bars in them. It's a nuts vehicle. I don't even know what's going on in the bed here. Well, fire extinguisher, I don't know. It's got everything you could do to a Jeep. And then another thing real quick. Wow, I've still got you guys. This Ford F100 truck is really cool because you can tell it's a resto mod. If anybody recognizes those wheels, this thing has a full GT500 swapped drivetrain. But what's interesting is a lot of times, even if they do the GT500 swap or whatever, they make it an automatic, but not this one. They actually left the 3 pedals in there, as you can see. And then on the bed, they did a Cobra logo, in case there were any doubts of what was under the hood of this thing. Pretty neat, a little different than what you normally see here, that's for sure. This car is a little interesting. I read up on this one. Normally, it's called a LaSalle, that's the brand. Definitely not something a lot of you guys have heard of unless you're a big pre-war enthusiast. But the reason that this car is the way it is and the way it's so low is apparently the original owner of this, his wife, was very, very short. So he had the car lowered 6 inches, not just a couple. He had the car lowered 6 inches, which meant that the running boards were cut off, and well, it left it as kind of a sleek roadster that would have been much, much lower and kind of smaller than it would have been otherwise back in 1941 or whatever year this is. Kind of an interesting story with this. Also, the fact that this has been owned by one family since absolutely brand new. So technically, whoever buys this tonight will be the second owner since 1941. And as you can imagine, that's not something that happens very often. So anyway, let me see here. If I missed anything, oops, sorry. Lot of cool stuff here. Any fire trucks for sale? I haven't seen any. Doesn't mean there aren't any at other auctions. Yes, I'm sure it does have air suspension, that's for sure. No, as far as my t-shirt goes, I know I'm not wearing a cat shirt. I did pack a few, and I think if I do some coverage of any of the other auctions, you can bet I'll be sporting a few. Yep, I'm sporting the brand here because, well, that's who's got me here. I'm at Worldwide Auctioneers, and I'm doing the commentary for them, so I gotta wear the shirt. Also, it's very helpful when you wear the shirt. Nobody asks you why you're opening up the cars, so definitely helps things a little bit there. Well, guys, I appreciate you all watching. This has been fun. I'll try to go live maybe another time while I'm still out here for the week, maybe at a different auction, maybe at a different thing. But I appreciate all of you guys for joining me. Please, though, do tune in to Worldwide Auctioneers stream tonight, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It will be on their YouTube channel. It'll be on their website. And your guy right here is going to be giving live commentary the entire time. It's my first auction gig. So if you guys could support it, it would mean the absolute world to me. And, you know, it's going to be cool. I hope I don't mess anything up. And, you know, it's something that's a big opportunity. So I hope to see as many of you guys on the stream as possible. And thank you guys for joining me on this one. This has been fun. Actually, it feels like we're going to the car show together, right? Yeah? Well, anyway, thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.